Hi, it's Guy from Project Portfolio Office, and this is another video in our capabilities range, and this relates to the baselining of tasks. So PPO allows you to baseline your projects such that you can track the baselining of your schedules. So how this works in PPO is slightly different from other scheduling tools, and the reason for that is that we do this on the project level in such a way that the baselining can actually be protected. So on every single project, if the baselining capability is activated, you'll see there's a baseline date field, and you'll be able to set that baseline date. If I drill into this compliance front-end project as an example, you can see the baseline date has been set for the 4th of August 2024, and it means that that was the baseline set on that specific date for that specific project. So that field is available under the project status section, and that's a field that users as well as administrators will be able to change. And it may be that if your PMO would like to protect that, you set a validation rule in place that allows only the PMO or only the PPO administrators to be able to set that date. But the effect of the baseline that's set over here is if I go to the Gantt chart of this project, you'll see that the baseline is this little line at the bottom, and the line at the top, or the section at the top, is the current planned. So if you click on the cog over here, the start date that we're showing is the planned start, the end date is the planned end. We're showing planned progress on this chart, but we are setting the baseline start and the baseline end date. So what you're able to see quite quickly from this, having set a baseline for this specific project, is it looks like the baseline of this project started on, or it looks like the plan started of this project was about the 25th of May, and that subsequently slipped out to the 30th. Likewise, the end date of this project has slipped out. So you can start to see the difference between the baseline that was set and the current planning. If you drill into that specific task, for every task in the project, you'll see this is the cost to income ratio task. It's the project task, so the top task there. And here you can validate that information, that the baseline was set initially, that the project was planned to start on the 25th of May and finish on the 28th of October, and actually started on the 30th, so a 5-day slip, and is now planned to finish on the 2nd of November. So those baseline dates are non-editable fields, they're calculated fields, and they use that underlying baseline that's been set. So as in how the planned start and end date of this project may move, the baseline is set on that specific date, and therefore that baseline is set. To support this functionality on the Gantt chart, we also have a specific report. So if you go to the tasks report category, there's a task variance report. If I run it for our cost to income ratio project, that 5-day slippage that you see is then shown. So once again, it shows the initial baseline, plan, start and end, and then the current. So by setting that baseline, you're able to see where your slippage starts to happen and what specific tasks. It may be that you have projects in your portfolio that do not have a baseline. So if we look at these other projects over here, for example, the cash flow boost project doesn't have a baseline. And if you run a Gantt view of that specific project, you then won't see the baseline date changes there. So the baseline date is currently the same as the start date, and that's why those two lines line up. For projects, if you wanted to change the baseline date, it's a simple matter of going into the system, editing it, and changing that baseline date if you have the necessary access. And what it does with the baseline is effectively look at that history. So on the cost to income ratio project, when the project was initially added into the system on the 1st of August, that planned start date was the 25th of May and the planned end date on the 28th of October. On the 3rd, it moved out by those 5 days. You can see from the audit history at the bottom here. And then on the 5th, again, it remained those dates. So when the baseline was set for that specific project, and remember that project baseline was set for the 4th of August, PPO then took a snapshot between those two, and that's where the new planned start and end date is the 5th, but the baseline was originally set on the 25th, and that's how the baselining functionality works. We hope this is useful to you and allows you to understand some of the strong capabilities that PPO supports.